Okay, guys. In a few minutes, we shall start with Toma sessions with Richie Cruz, featuring our guest Jillian Vose. Hello, Jillian. Okay, so I'll put you in. Hey,
Does that work?
morning. Yeah, yeah. So we'll wait first for them, then I'll start, and then let's get rolling. Good
All
morning.
right.
Morning.
How you feeling?
Good. It's a long day. It's been a long day. I had a webinar since 2 in the afternoon, 2 to 4 ish. And then
Wow.
yeah, I've been cleaning because I'm in the studio right now. So I had a 10 a.m. Zoom meeting also. It's 10, it's 2, it's you. Then yeah, it's a crazy week, but I'm not complaining. It's
Good.
really good. Yeah. Okay, it's building up now. It's building up.
Yeah. Can they hear us
Yeah,
yet? They can.
they can. They can.
Okay.
It's
Hi,
okay.
everybody. Could start at 9:30. No, like you're watching it. You can't stop watching it. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
first time
I.
I've had to get up early for anything. Not that it's very early.
Oh,
No, it's good.
thank
It's
you.
like,
Thank you.
oh, great.
Thanks. Yeah, well, I mean, what else? What else is there to do? I mean, we need a break.
No, I mean there is stuff to do, but do I really want to do those things? Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe later.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, let's start. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Toma Sessions Live. This is Richie Cruz. This is presented by FB Bartending School Philippines, and yeah, it's been a crazy and fruitful week actually. You know, yesterday it was a great for those who wasn't able to tune in yesterday. We had a great conversation with Andre Vidora. He's based in Dubai. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do the IG live, but we shifted to Zoom. So for those who want to watch it, just tune into our FB page, FB Bartending School. And yeah, it was a very nice conversation regarding his job, his career, his present life now, and he gave a few inputs with regards to COVID, and because he represents Monan in the Middle East, so yeah, he had some pretty interesting insight regarding that. And today, we are very fortunate and lucky to have with us girl power. It's like a girl power session in Toma sessions. And like I was saying to our guest, the Philippines now has a growing number of female bartenders. In fact, I believe they have an event on the 1st of May. It's called She Shakes. So there's like five female bartenders. This is sponsored by Maker's Mark, I think. So it's fun to be a lady bartender now in the Philippines because it's really growing. And what better way to also have this Toma session by having one of the kick-ass lady bartenders in the industry in New York. I won't prolong the excitement. So, ladies and gentlemen, the beverage director and the managing partner of the Dead Rabbit, New York City, one of the best bars in the world. Let's all welcome Jillian Voss. Woo! Welcome,
Uh,
welcome, Jillian.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
thanks
honored that
very
you.
much.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And it is a little weird that I can't hear any of you or what, but this is our new normal, I guess. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so hello for all of you there in the Philippines and all over the world that are joining in. I see some of my friends here getting on there too. Good for you getting up early. Um, So yeah, it is the morning here. So I'm having my juice and my water, and hopefully you're having a wee tipple of a cocktail or a whiskey or something.
N- Not
Uh,
yet, not yet.
Not yet. Okay,
Maybe
it's 9:30.
a bit later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with the introduction. Can you tell us something? How long have you been in the bartending industry?
So right out of high school, I'm from Massachusetts, which is in New England, like close to the Atlantic, like kind of near Boston, which is where I
Yeah,
am
yeah.
now during COVID. By
Okay.
sea. And I moved out to Arizona, which is in the Midwest, and got into hospitality there at a young age of 17, 18. So
Hmm.
I've been doing this for about 17 years, maybe not this particular job, but I've also started, when I was a kid working in ice cream shops and stuff like that. So
Oh,
always been
nice.
in hospitality since I was 14. But really, as an adult, started running food and being a server and all that good stuff before I became a bartender and then eventually a manager. But I've been managing bars for about 10 years now.
Okay, okay,
You do
okay.
math. How old do you think I am? I'm just kidding. Don't answer
No,
that.
okay. I'm poor in math, but sorry. Okay, but so you mean to tell me it's been the hospitality business ever since? Like you didn't have any other uh what do you call this? Ambition or job that you had in mind, like I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer, stuff
Well,
like that.
it was like a lot of bartenders that we were like going to going to school, and then to make money we get into bars and restaurants. It was pretty much the same case for me. But I fell in love with the community and the friendships of working in a bar. um, so I very quickly, I was changing my major all the time, so I went in like thinking I was going to be in like business, like finance, business.
Okay.
And I switched majors, and all along I was like, I put most of my effort into the job, and I always was picking up shifts, and just that's kind of how I got into it. And then I fell in love with it and just wanted to be the best I could at it. So I just started learning and reading and practicing and everything I could do to become better and better, and started getting jobs that were started off in a brewery, and then I went into fine dining, and then I moved to New York. So kind of done the beer, the wine, that kind of fine service, and now I'm into the cocktail bars in New York.
Okay, cool. So you just learned through the ropes, through the experience. You didn't go to school, or did you take these bar smarts or what have you
So
uh, going
yeah,
up?
I mean, we all, it's bartending is a funny thing because you're starting to see colleges and such have courses on like hospitality and beverage. I did go to school and take classes for hospitality management, but it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really teach you how to be a bartender, or doesn't teach you how to make cocktails. So it might teach you how to, cost out um, your liquor percentage or something like that. But you're not really
Mm-hmm.
learning um, the true skill sets that you need to be successful in the business. So it really comes from your drive, your personality, your work ethic, and things like that. So really, it is you learn through your people that you work with and like your mentors. And I mean, I was just a sponge. Like even if it didn't really seem like I was, um, wasn't sitting there taking notes, like following people around, but I just absorbed, the good elements of certain people that I admired, and that's kind of what I took with me along the way. So even if it's somebody that is, a bar back, or the dishwasher or anything like that, that you're learning, you know the good that they have to offer, and like their knowledge that you're taking with you, and you'll sometimes you might not need it right away, but you'll realize it down the road. So yeah, I've had a lot of there's too many people to count that I've learned from across my time, especially here in New York, but um, countless and countless people that I look up to from afar, or the people that I've actually had the pleasure to work with. Um, and then on top of that, you are reading on top of that while you're doing that. Like you're experiencing it for yourself, but you're learning the technical stuff behind the scenes. So you're understanding what distillation is, and you're studying your menus and your specs behind the bar, not behind the bar. And when you are at the bar, you're focusing on service. So those kind of that balancing act is kind of the bartending school, if you will, that I did. But I did take bar 5 day. So when I moved to New
Nice.
York, I didn't even know what Bar Smarts was. I don't think that really was up and running quite yet. But Bar 5 day, I think it was the second or third year. It was still really small. It was still at a different location. And it was only about, I think, 35 to 40 people got accepted. Um, and I remember my colleagues in Arizona were talking about this like crazy like class that you could take in New York City, and it was like this huge deal. And like the biggest names in the industry were the people that put it together, like Dale, who we had on last week, Dave Wondrich, Doug Frost, like Andy Seymour, like all these amazing people that you only read about in the
Exactly.
pond.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I was moving from Arizona back to the Boston area, and I was like, I was going to spend the summer by the ocean and work and pop some Bud Lights and make some money, and I figure it out after that. So I decided to move to New York City, and I was like, let me inquire about this Bar 5 day thing. And so I looked on the website, and I just called the phone number, and very shockingly, Paul Bacult answered the phone, and I was like, what? Oh my God, what do I do? And he's like, well, we're closing up the admissions, but if you can get
Mm-hmm.
me everything by tomorrow, we'll take a look at it. And he's like, all right, kiddo, we'll see you tomorrow. Like, and they called me in the morning. And I think at that point, this was 2009. Um, and this was still a time when there was not as many female bartenders that were participating in these kinds of things. And I think that did help
Yeah.
me get in a little bit, is because they're like, oh my gosh, there's maybe one of three girls that was women that were going to be part of it. So I was super excited. But then I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to move to New York City in 2 weeks. So,
Oh,
you know,
wow, wow.
so
Yeah,
I kind
too.
of found an apartment and slept on an air mattress for that week and just studied and studied, went to class. And then from there, because I was new to the city, I was like, hi, I'm Jillian, this is 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And, you know, little me, and I was like, I just moved to New York yesterday. So a lot of people were like, oh, you're part of
Oh,
this
wow.
group that
Yeah.
just moved here. So a lot of people helped me out to find a job. My first job was at Clover Club in Brooklyn. And I worked there for a little while before opening up Maison Premiere, which
Yeah.
is a James Beard Award winning bar. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It was perfect for me. And from there, I went on to Death and Co. and then now Dead Rabbit.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the places I missed. Wasn't able to go to the La Maison premiere. I was supposed to during my visit in 2016, I think, or 17. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's still open, right? It's still pretty much
Yeah. I
open.
mean, well, nothing's open
Okay.
now, but
Yeah, 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 yeah,
up
yeah.
until
I
COVID
mean,
happened, they were doing really well. Yeah.
okay. All right. So actually, you did mention you have a lot of mentors going up, but if I were to ask you, can you name me like who are your heroes, like top three or top hero, in this industry for you?
Wow. I don't want to leave anybody out, but if,
Yeah, if there's a lot, then
there is
yeah.
a lot.
Oh,
So, okay, I'll pick three that come to my brain right away. Well, Jason Asher, he would he owns a couple bars in Phoenix. It's kind of like the person that I cut my teeth with. So him and myself and two other guys. One of them, Tyson Bueller, who is now the beverage director for all the Death and Co's. Um,
okay.
but Jason and us four, my friend Micah, we kind of started. We were the first people to really do cocktails in Phoenix. Um,
Okay.
and so we kind of, as a unit, and he was a little more experienced in the bar industry than I was at the time, but that was the person who kind of drove us to really get into this whole cocktail movement 13 years ago. And in
Mm-hmm.
a smaller kind of satellite city, that's really big. Now you'll see smaller cities like Phoenix, like blowing up with innovation, and he's the person like kind of driving that. So that would
Uh-huh.
be kind of like in the first stages of my career, Jason would have been my person. Um, moving to New York, oh, that's a tough one. Um,
Yeah, I know it's just a lot. No
it's hard.
pressure, but yeah,
I mean, I learned
yeah.
so much from everybody, but the Death
Mm,
and Go team in general, like learning, being like, a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, like up and coming bartender, and getting to work with people like Phil Ward, Brian Miller, Joaquin Simo, like learning from them made me a better bartender. Just learning their technique and their interactions and the different personalities all together
yeah.
um, was truly what made me a great bartender. At least I think so. But
Mm-hmm.
that was where
Yes,
I
you
did
are.
a
Yes.
lot of
Mm.
my sponging. So I would just kind
I
of
see. I see.
listen to how they talk to guests, and like, I'd learn things about all different types of subjects just by listening to Joaquin talk to guests. And it was just really, we do blind tastings while we had downtime behind the bar. And that's where I got to really learn spirits and to how to use them. Why would you use one bourbon over another bourbon? Um, so Joaquin would be a big one, and Alex Day would be a huge one, just for like structure and the way that like things are designed, and just his brain and his kindness. Like, so that kind of team is amazing. And then as far as like people that are kind of heroes to me, Paul Picoult is one of them, just for how knowledgeable he is on spirits. So like kindred spirits, and he's been a writer for whiskey and all spirit. The Spirits Journal is his. Like, so he's just a true inspiration as someone that loves to analyze spirits and to also like rate spirits and understand how to use them. He's somebody I look up to. So those, yeah, Jason, Joaquin, and Alex, and Paul would be my guys.
All right. But since you were mentioning about okay, in the New York scene when I was there, the last time I was there, don't you find it like it's there I find myself sometimes trying to really catch up when I talk and converse with bartenders if it becomes really geeky. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Deep stuff, geeky stuff. Especially okay. I can mention Don Lee is a pretty you really have to run a sprint to catch up with this guy because
Don's
he's
amazing, but I
so
don't. I find myself lost sometimes. I'm like,
uh,
yeah, sure, okay.
yeah, okay. So that's yeah, okay. So at least I'm not alone in that. Because sometimes, if you're too deep in the science of bartending, you tend to like be overwhelmed by some of these guys you have in New York's bartending scene. So yeah, so I'm happy to hear that sometimes you say,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right,
Well, it
got it, got
depends on
it.
what you're into. If for me, I find it hard to get a cocktail book and read it front to cover. I mean, not everybody's like wired that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I like to read, if a book is more like a reference type thing, then I'll kind of pick out the pieces and read what I want. Um,
Okay.
if there's a storyline, and there is like something like I found Jim Meehan's newest book was like fun to read, and because it was about people I knew, so I kind of
Uh-huh.
that, or like A Proper Drink by Robert Simonson, like I could read that. But there's other things that are like recipe based that I have a hard time getting through. But I find myself, those are the books I whip out when I need them. Um,
Okay.
but as far as like, the geeky thing, I mean, I can get geeky with the best of them, but only on things that I feel comfortable with. But I wouldn't know the
Mm-hmm.
chemical breakdown of, you know, mint or something. I don't know. Like, but it is important. It is important. But I'll use books like I don't have my library here at my mother's house, but
Yeah, no worries.
books that really break down. So say
So,
you say something very simple. You have an idea to pair, lime, kiwi, and mint together, for instance. But
okay.
that's kind of boring, right? Because everyone's done that,
Yeah.
or that's a pretty common maybe, I mean, I don't know.
Uh,
It's a pretty
mm-mm.
common flavor combination. Then you're
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
what's similar to mint but will give me something different? So, oh, anise or something like that. And then
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
break them down on like something slightly different than that kind of boring combination. And that's how you kind of come up with drinks and make them
mm-hmm.
more nuanced. But that's kind of the geeky stuff I'd be into. Like, okay, like to think of new flavor combinations of why things are similar or dissimilar and why things work or why they don't. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to flavor, that I'd be kind of into that. But for instance, like Don Lee and Dave Arnold, like they have
Dave
a
Arnold,
bar
yeah.
called Existing
Mm-hmm.
Conditions, which is
Yeah.
totally based on that kind of stuff, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
people are so intrigued by it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it is cool. It's not for me for every day, but
Yes.
it is something where once in a while it's kind of cool to see what they're up to and go in and say hi and see what kind of crazy concoctions they came up with and
Yeah,
what they're
yeah, yeah.
clarifying and
Mm-hmm.
maybe they did the frozen muddler thing. I have no idea. So yeah, I'm not geeky like that, but as far as when it comes to flavors and flavor pairing and breaking down
That's your thing. That's your
flavors, that
thing.
would be my thing. Like, or analyzing spirits and then pairing flavors with those like tasting notes.
Okay. Okay. Let's shout out first or greet our viewers. So welcome everybody, those who just came in. Actually, I'd like to mention Drink Manila. That's one of our social media outfit. So they promoted the events going on the Philippines this week. And then Kiara Singh, who's helping promote also. It's a good friend of mine. And then most of the guys that are here, I see Ken, I see Michael, I see Lester. These are the guys actually who are previous champions of Diageo World Class.
Oh,
Um,
congratulations, guys!
yeah, they have their own channel also for Diageo. So here in the Philippines, we're pretty much active in social media and keeping sure that everybody's informed and inspired also, and they do also talks. Yeah, and also the Sofitel team, the Sofitel hotel. Who else is here? Uh, Mike Rabago, and there's a lot. There's a lot already.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, the people. Yeah, so those who just came in, welcome to Toma Sessions. We're live here with Jillian Vose. Okay, so let's continue. So after that, what is your go-to drink?
Ooh, well, um, that's a tough one. If I for cocktails, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I definitely would be like a sidecar kind of person. Um,
Okay.
but if I'm going to like test out a new bar or bartender, like most, it's like a chef. If a chef can't cook an egg, then they're probably not very good at anything. That would be like a daiquiri or an old fashioned for me. So
Okay. Yeah.
those would be
High five.
the
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
drinks. If you can make a well balanced, simple cocktail, I'd be then more inclined to maybe order something from the menu. But
Okay.
if I'm unless I know the bartender or the bar program already, yeah. But
So
a
you do get
sidecar
to
would be
do
my
that
jam.
once in a while, huh? So you do get to do that. You test the bartender and like, okay, can I have a daiquiri, please? And
Yeah.
then,
I mean, it's
okay, okay,
it's not again, it's if it's a bartender I don't know or if it's a bar program I'm not familiar with. Maybe it's a new country or city I've never been to and I'm kind of at a random place. But I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
we all have good sense. Like you walk in a bar and you see the dusty bottle of vermouth on the back bar, you're probably thinking
exactly,
beer. So
yeah,
it just depends.
yeah. Okay, so which is okay. You just mentioned that dusty bottle, right? So what's your pet peeve? And since you're the director, right? So most likely you have your pet peeves when you enter the bar and okay, what the
Oh,
what's
I mean,
going
only
on? You know what
one.
I
I have
mean?
many pet peeves, Richie.
Okay, give me three.
I'm
Give me
just
three
kidding.
then.
I'm not that. I'm not that picky. Um, I guess in general, like keeping a very like clean workspace. So if I walk in and see, a dirt like not not that everyone's trained to keep a clean workspace, but when I see jiggers everywhere and like a wet bar top from like you fling everything around and your rinse sink is like, filled with mint or something like that drives me crazy. Anything on
Okay.
the floor, so like, say, your drink tickets and you miss the trash, like or a lemon twist or anything like that that falls on the floor is drives me crazy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like basically anything that doesn't need to be there shouldn't be there. So with like when you're busting a table or walking by a table, like if you're seeing anything that you're removing it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I'm like super crazy about, and that's kind of the mentality that our staff has is like if it doesn't need to be there, remove it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the other thing is the claw, going in and this, you're always
Oh,
always holding, glass down on
yes. We in my language we call that dukwang.
the
Dukwang.
quad. Okay.
Dukwang. Yeah, the
Don't
claw
quad.
is dukwang. Yeah. I know
Okay.
what you mean.
Well,
I hate that too. Yeah.
claw, that's gross. Especially, with the way the world is these days with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
COVID, everyone needs to be really mindful about germs.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
you have your space for the glass, and it's the customers for where you drink.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
what's the other thing? But those, I guess, it all really comes down to cleanliness. I know a big one, um, like anything like dusting, like that kind of stuff. But the biggest one probably is like dirty bathrooms. So it all comes down to cleanliness.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I
like
feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
like Jack is too. It kind of is a trickle down from what because like Jack is kind of he has his things that he's really adamant about. So I've been like
Mm-hmm.
just accustomed to making sure those things are done. But yeah, the bathroom thing, like you could have to be having the best time at this beautiful bar, gorgeous bar, and all of a sudden you use the restroom and it's like God
Well,
knows what's going
yeah.
on in there, and you're just like, okay, now I'm totally turned off and I want to leave. So, the bathroom thing, it should be part of your side work and like what you're looking at throughout your whole shift. It's still part of your section, I guess. As a
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. That's interesting. So let's go back. So if you say that sidecar is your go-to cocktail, what's your go-to spirit?
Go-to spirit. Well, I might sound a little biased because the Dead Rabbit, but Irish whiskey is really is definitely my go-to. After Irish whiskey, I'm a sucker for Calvados or apple based spirits. So
Mm-hmm.
Calvados,
Mm-hmm.
American apple brandies, even like fruit eau de vie, things like that. But brandy as
Mm-hmm.
a category would be like my next thing, hence the sidecar. But um, Irish whiskey because I've kind of us as a bar and as a team, we've really dedicated our like put a lot of focus into um, sharing our knowledge and studies of Irish whiskey and our collection, and really showing our guests how versatile it is.
Okay.
So
Bless you.
yeah, it's thank you. Um, so Irish whiskey because it's booming right now. It's it's a very exciting category, and there's so much innovation going on with their with the barrel aging and the finishes and everything that's going on. So I'm excited for it. We're actually writing a book called Patty Drinks that will be out for St. Patrick's Day next year, and it'll be showcasing how to use Irish whiskey for cocktails and breaking down each style by flavor profile and how to use it and what for. So that's something I'm working on now with Jack and Sean. So that's some fun stuff you guys can look forward to for next year on Irish whiskey.
Okay. So in fact, we have some guests here who has been to Dead Rabbit,
Mm-hmm.
myself included, but some of us haven't. So can you give us like a run through of what the Dead Rabbit is and how when did you win this top bar in Tales of the Cocktails or the 100 best bars, etc. So can you give us like a summary of that? So when did this
Yeah,
open
absolutely.
okay.
So the Dead Rabbit is it's a an Irish pub, but with a cocktail bar upstairs. So there's something for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on, well, the name comes from the Dead Rabbits, Irish American street gang from the mid 1800s. And the bar is designed to have, you know, a pub, which we call the tap room, the parlor, which is the cocktail bar that most people know of, and then we have an occasional room for parties. And about a year and a half ago, not even, yeah, about almost a year and a half ago, we expanded into the next building. So we have now expanded our tap room into a large seating area and another like 3-station bar. And then
Mm-hmm.
we have the parlor expanded to have like a little baby bar next to it. So we can do more private parties. We have more room and things like that. So it's essentially 5 bars in one or 2 buildings that are connected. So
Okay.
it's a seated only bar in the parlor. So if there is a wait, which there usually is on busier nights, you can enjoy like great drinks or pint of Guinness or whatever downstairs. And it's
Mm-hmm.
also, you know, downstairs is like your everyday kind of pub. You could go in there a few times a week, have a great pint of Guinness, you know, have you know, we're priding ourselves on the best Irish coffee, the best pint of Guinness in New York City, which is a bold statement, Irish whiskey, and Irish whiskey cocktails. So those are the 4 things that we're really, really focused on doing really, really
Mm-hmm.
well. But then the cocktail bar upstairs, with the same focus minus the Guinness, the drinks and servers are slightly a little more elevated, a little more complex in the cocktails, and then a little more like seated only service with the maitre d', and you know, a little bit more fine-tuned service. So that's kind of in a nutshell what it is. And yeah, if anybody has any more questions, but
Yeah, I love the teacups. I love the teacups. I had a cocktail there placed in a fancy teacup. You know, I
yeah, so
forgot
we
what
kind of
that was called, but
well, it started off before I worked there, because I didn't work there until the second year they were open. But the first menu was based on the kind of like the evolution of cocktails, but with a big focus on punch. So it started
uh-huh.
off with punch bowls, and we had different types of punch.
Oh, okay.
And then that was for the first and second menus. They did a heavy punch program, and
Okay.
it was exciting because people weren't familiar with punch and serving it like communal drinks. So this is really exciting for people, and to get guests excited, to give them something, you know, while they look through the, you know, extensive menu, they would give them a little teacup of the daily punch or whatever it was. So it became a staple at the bar, and couldn't ever really take it away because people would go crazy. So now we
Mm-hmm.
use that. We don't really do the heavy punch program that was first and
Mm.
second menus that Jack did. I've kind
Mm-hmm.
of changed the program slightly with less punch, but we still do the amuse bouche. So just like when you go to like a nice restaurant, you get the little spoonful of something. This is kind
Mm-hmm.
of our drinks version of that, as drink while you
I
think
see.
kind of thing.
Ah,
Hi,
okay,
Adriana.
okay. All right. Yeah, Dead Rabbit Whiskey is here. So shout out. I think you have we have combination of friends here, so it's nice. Hi guys, welcome to Toma Sessions.
Hi, everybody.
So for those outside of the Philippines, so Toma is our local term for drink or cheers. So this is yeah, welcome to the bar talk. So Lester is waving over there. So he's a fan. You have lots of fans here in the Philippines. Have you ever considered coming over? Or do you have friends
I've
here?
been asked a couple times, but just the timing was never right. I think it coincided with other bar weeks, or you know, it's a little harder for me to travel. I did Rabbit Irish Whiskey.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a little harder for me to travel these days with my um, with my job. I'm not just behind the bar anymore. I'm also, it's just myself and my partner Laura that really manage the place. So it's
Mm-hmm.
hard if I go away, that she has to work a little bit more, and then I have to work a lot when I come back. So it's
Mm-hmm.
exhausting. and I have to be really particular about things I do, or if it's like directly beneficial to the brand.
Yeah.
The plane tickets are cheap now. I know,
Cheap
but
now, yeah.
um, but yeah, it's I love traveling. It was one of my favorite parts of my job, but things have just kind of changed direction. Now we have all these other bartenders that are up and coming that are kind of getting to do those things that I got to do years, in the past years. So, um, still going to travel quite a bit, especially once we start opening up more Dead Rabbits across the country. So that will
Oh,
be
okay,
exciting.
okay. Nice, nice,
Um,
nice. Okay, so
yeah,
that's good news. That's good news.
yeah,
Um, okay, so I'm quite intrigued because who thought of the comics thing with Dead Rabbit? That's really a good marketing strategy. Oh, because I love comics
yeah,
also, and then but the artwork was pretty dope. Like you have your artwork, then Shingo, and then everybody else. So who
yeah.
basically
All
who
the
thought
homies
of
got
that?
their cartoon done. Um,
Uh-huh.
so Sean, who's one of the owners, he has a really good brain for this kind of stuff, and he really drives the all the marketing and everything like that. Um, so a combination of him and then the design team slash artists that we used in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After we did 3 years of those big books, it was great. We won two Tales of the Cocktail World's Best Cocktail menus. And we really thought, okay, this is great, but it's too much. It's like a book. And while
Mm-hmm.
we love them a lot, it was time to kind of take a different direction and something a little more edgy. And we wanted to, kind of freshen up the brand a little bit. So that Mark Rahal is the one that's drawn the person. He's out of Belfast. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so he is into comics. He does other comic books, like not like, so he knows his stuff. It's not like a one off. He he's an artist for many things, and comics is one of his passions. And him,
Mm-hmm.
alongside the design team Drinksology that we had at the time, and with Sean, they kind of thought of the concept. And it kind of starts off, okay, here's we're going to do this for 3 years, and we're going to do it every 6 months. So we kind of have an idea of, the series. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
doing different, different one. Like all those people, like when we thought we'd have an edge to it, like by putting our friends in the industry all over the world and make them cartoons and characters within the menu. And then
Yeah.
after 3 years of that, we're like, well, now we're bored of this. So but we like this kind
Change.
of smaller, 30 drinks, a little easier to navigate, and then a different type of art. So it's less words. You know,
So you mean
so
to tell me, all right, so the drink list that you have, okay, you keep on changing every what? Every quarter,
every
how
six
often do
months.
you?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
unfortunately, we did 2 days of the new menu before we had to close the bar, but so that will be a
Yeah.
little longer. But yeah, every 6 months. So we're working on the menu about 3 to 4 months. Sorry,
But
longer.
okay, I'm curious, right? The changing of the menu. So does that mean once you change the menu, the ingredients there are no longer available, or it keeps on piling up, so you have a lot of
Well,
cocktails
if
offering.
we're not going to keep um, ingredients that are perishable that are not on the menu. So if we don't need banana syrup, then we're not going to keep it for no reason. But because we have
Okay.
different menus on the pub and in the in the pub and in the parlor, a lot of the
Mm-mm.
times we have pretty much everything. But again, if it's a modifier used in a small quantity that is perishable, it's definitely not gonna um, keep around. But the bartenders know if they can make it or not. We have like a searchable database, so even if you're
Okay.
new, you could look it up and say, "Oh, we can or cannot make that because we don't have this or that."
So
Um,
you have like a data or statistics, so which cocktails you keep from the previous menu and which ones you remove.
Well, we changed the menu completely, so it's a completely new. So after 6 months, we do a completely new menu. We don't keep anything.
I see. Okay,
So,
okay,
but if
okay,
there's definitely there's always overlapping ingredients. That's but
okay.
there's a couple of questions. Somebody said
Yeah,
earlier about a fire. Uh, 2 Julys ago, we had a fire, but we were only closed for 19 days before we opened back up. So this
yeah,
COVID
yeah.
thing is a lot
Okay.
worse than a fire. I'd take the fire any day. Um,
What point of sale system do you use? So Michael Thomas was asking. I think yeah, we can read some questions.
yeah,
What
we
POS do
use
you use?
Aloha.
Aloha. Okay.
It's
Uh,
it's
go ahead.
it's 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 good because it's compatible with a lot of things, but when the system goes down, it's really rough. But it's what a lot of people use. It's once you get the hang of it, um, and people
Okay.
are
So
asking like, what cities?
here's another. Okay, here's another. Here's another question. So I'll read it for you. In your opinion, why was Blacktail not as successful as Dead Rabbit? I was at Blacktail. I met Jesse there. Jesse,
Vita.
who's now in Atlas. Yeah, Vida.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what's the story?
So Blacktail, oh gosh, it was such a beautiful bar.
Yeah, I know, I know. The
Um,
artwork. Oh my God, that's
yeah, I mean that was, it's a crazy story maybe for another time that how we got that artwork, but the photography, but it really came down to location. It was a little bit farther down in Battery Park City. It didn't have its own kind of entrance. I mean, it had its own entrance, but it
hmm
didn't have its own like storefront kind of thing.
yeah,
Um, and at the end of the day, like Dead Rabbit is not, it's not as far away from everything.
exactly.
It's protected by other buildings, and it has its own facade, and then
Mm-hmm.
also it's open all day. So I think like
I
there's
see.
just it comes down to if it had been in its own location and not inside Puree, and maybe it was the outside was open a little bit sooner, I think that things could have been different. But at the end of the day, you can't have a bar that's not. It's still a business at the end of the day. So it was nothing
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
with us not doing a good job, or the people that work there not doing a great job, and it just was a bad, I guess, a bad location.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but yeah, it's a shame because I really like the interiors. The bartenders were pretty good, and they're pretty hospitable also. So yeah, but yeah, well, I mean, things have a way of
Yeah.
working out. So
No, I can't.
let's okay, guys. I'll turn over the floor to you now. If you have questions, please feel free to ask Jillian.
Oh, hi, Jose Leon.
Because
There we go.
some of yeah, some of the questions actually are local. It's about the when you mentioned that you're planning to expand or put up other
Yeah, I've
branches.
seen those.
Yeah.
So we are we've already have a site for New Orleans, and we've already started on opening for October, and now we're looking like sometime in the spring next year, which is really a big bummer. We were super excited. So it's kind of then, a domino effect that will slow everything down. But um, we're looking at nothing definite, but like maybe Boston, Washington, D.C., possibly Dublin, Ireland. But yeah, things like I saw something, Charleston. Oh my gosh, I love Charleston. I'd love to open a bar there, but who knows? But yeah, really looking at, you know, cities that make sense. and that where we can, not New York City, as you can imagine, is extremely expensive to run a bar. So we're looking at cities that are a little more affordable, um, to run a bar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Christian has a question. What would be your advice on bartenders, as well as what are you looking on hiring someone? Okay, so if in case you have an opening in your bar, so what's like the top three things that you look for in an applicant?
Um, when hiring bartenders, well, for particularly for Dead Rabbit, it really comes down to the personality. So, how that person like presents themselves, how articulate are they, um, like some having confidence, but not like too much confidence, like an ego.
Yeah.
So, somebody who has humility, that's, humble. Um, Bye, mom. Oh, and then and the other thing is, of course, and especially for the parlor, for instance, if you're looking at kind of a cocktail bar, it would be, you know, have you created cocktails before? Do you understand